Hi, for this project I chose gender inequality and violence, especially in Mexico, which is an issue related to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 5, gender equality. The reason why I decided to work on this topic is because it is an issue that has socially arisen more than ever nowadays and is extremely concerning with the various feminist protests in different parts of the country and around the world where women and allies fight against the endless inequalities women are put through. Not only has its emerging peak driven me to talk about it, but it has always concerned me personally since I get to witness it firsthand in some way. And I think that as a Mexican woman, given the circumstances in which I live in, I have the social responsibility of addressing it. It is not only relevant socially, but also economically and politically. Women have always been discriminated and treated as inferiors, so the fact that they are now standing tall against the injustices they live involve all of these matters. Women's participation is as important as men's, and this is not always respected, for which talking about gender inequality is imperative. Additionally, since women represent almost half of the population of the world, it is impossible not to take them into account when it comes to any matter. Other injustices women have lived is that they don't get fair wages compared to those to men. Therefore, its relevance is very pertinent. This issue has affected me negatively at a personal level since I have witnessed this violence firsthand and I know that the majority of women around me have too, which is why it is relevant to me. An important part of its effect on me is intersectionality. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community and a woman, I can become a severe target of these hateful comments and attitudes. But there are women in both Mexico and the world that are part of more minorities and that live in a much harder situation than mine. Thinking about this upsets me and makes me want to make a change, at least in my community, which is why I want to find a viable solution to this issue. My perspective around this issue has been strongly influenced by the education I received. Since my parents have always been supportive of the feminist movement, they always taught me to practice empathy, among other values, and how to plead in favor of them and my rights. After interacting with my friend and my mother, my perspective stayed the same, since I agreed with everything they said in their interviews. However, there were some things that they mentioned that I can probably say some to what I already thought. From my friend Luana's interview, I recalled her being hopeful, sharing that it is the small things that count, and saying that we can take action in so many ways, which was very enriching for me. From what my mother had shared with me, I can take her perspective of education being the main solution as a true statement, and I will make sure I research more about how this influences the way we think of the subject in question. My perspective, thoughts, and feelings about the topic didn't change at all. I was just made more conscious of the fact that we must include all kinds of people when it comes to inviting others to find a solution to any issue, because sometimes it is not the willingness to help what is missing, but to look around and invite others to join the cause. In addition to this, I realized that I have been concerned about gender violence and inequality only in my country when it is a global issue that affects every other country. Talking to Luana opened my eyes about the situation in Peru and awakened my interest in what's happening in other Latin American countries and in other parts of the world. Now I feel the urge to investigate more, read more, and tell my friends and family about the importance of stepping outside this bubble we are sometimes in and take a look at what other places and people experience. In other words, being empathetic. The proposal I came up with is divided into and focused on three main parts. One is the maintenance and creation of more recovering centers or organizations for women who have been violated in any way that has affected their development. The second one involves the rehabilitation of those who have perpetrated violence against women. And last but definitely not least, the reinforcement of the educational sector regarding gender equality. My proposal's main objective is to work in a three-way strategy that doesn't only target one part of the issue. Instead, different populations that have an important role in the problem are involved. The impact of seeing my proposal being used and taken into account would be very humbling and emotional, since this matter has become very personal to me. Even though I am privileged, I have seen and I have felt this hideous violence, and for me, it would be very important to see it being dissolved. It would be greater than I would imagine. What encourages me even more to strive for this cause is that my proposal won't be heard and won't be spread. Therefore, I will need to take action, and I am already taking action nowadays, actually, in different ways to change the situation in my close environment and my community, to say the least. The positive aspects of my solution would be the strengthening and promoting of the shelters and recovering centers for women, since they would be recovered, they can return to their lives, somehow restore the order of society and economy too. And once recovered, they can dedicate themselves to what they need or what they want. Another positive aspect could be that we would be looking into the aggressor's experience without any justification for what they've done, targeting the roots of the problem through a careful, empathetic way. This could readapt them into society and make them promote gender equality amongst their close communities. Another thing could be changing the education for the youth, since it means looking into the future in order to assure a better environment that in time could be flourished. It is changing the minds of the ones that will lead the world in some years. I also see the three-way method as an advantage because it attacks three parts of the issue and not just one. As for the negative aspects of my proposal, I would say that the most difficult one could be the probably slow response to my solution because not all societies are prepared to this kind of change. And I think that because it is a very hopeful idea, it could be unappreciated, seen as absurd, or even being rejected. Nevertheless, I believe that even with a few people, little by little, a change can be made and we could probably take it to a global scale. My role in this issue and proposal is to look for the people necessary to set up the programs I plan with the help of my friends and family who I know would be interested in participating. I could use social media, to which I have easy access to spread the word and keep getting people together and very involved in this solution. If this didn't result, I would still be supporting the shelters and centers that give attention to violated women, feminist collectives, and NGOs that are fully inclusive and supportive of this cause. Thank you for watching.